Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. When you think about the NFC East, especially the Washington Commanders, you know this division is always in flux, always evolving, and right now, there's a lot of buzz about what the Commanders are doing behind the scenes. The offseason has been nothing short of aggressive, and it's clear that the front office, led by General Manager Adam Peters, is not messing around. Peters has built a reputation for being relentless in his pursuit of upgrading the roster, and this year is no different. He's watching the league, hunting for opportunities, and ready to pounce on the right players. The idea is simple. The Commanders want to be a team that's not just competitive, but a team that can challenge for a Super Bowl in the very near future. That means every move, every signing, every trade is driven by a clear vision of winning now and building for the future. And talking about improvements and aggressive moves, it's impossible not to mention the current landscape of player availability around the league. Some of the biggest names have suddenly become accessible, and that's a game changer for teams with the appetite and the cap space to make moves. For instance, one of the most intriguing names right now is Jaire Alexander, the cornerback from the Green Bay Packers. Now, Alexander is a two-time Pro Bowler, a player with shutdown ability, and someone who could dramatically upgrade the Commanders' secondary. But here's the kicker: Green Bay decided to release him after no willing trade could be finalized. That's right, no trade partner stepped up, and now Alexander is a free agent, available for anyone willing to make a move. Imagine the impact he could have on Washington's secondary. He's been unlucky with injuries in recent seasons, which has hampered his consistency, but when healthy, he's arguably one of the top cornerbacks in the league. His ball-hawking skills, coverage ability, and leadership qualities could be exactly what the Commanders need to bolster a secondary that's been somewhat inconsistent. And let's not forget, Washington's defense has been the backbone of their team in recent years. Adding a player of Alexander's caliber could turn that unit into one of the league's fiercest. It would also send a message to the rest of the league that the Commanders are serious about contending, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, shifting gears a bit, another player currently generating buzz is Germaine Pratt, the linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals. Pratt was released by Cincinnati in a move aimed at saving nearly $6 million on the cap. It's a surprising move because Pratt has been a reliable and productive player, especially last season, when he racked up a career-high 143 tackles. He's one of those guys who plays with grit, intelligence, and a lot of instinct, exactly the type of player the Commanders could use to solidify their linebacking core. Let's be honest, the linebacker position has been an area of concern for Washington. They have Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu, both solid players, but adding someone like Pratt could give them that extra edge, that extra punch at the second level of the defense. Pratt is a former third-round pick out of North Carolina State, and he's got all the traits that fit well with the team's culture, especially under coach Dan Quinn, who emphasizes physicality and smart play. Pratt's run-stopping ability is exceptional, and while he has had some struggles in coverage, his overall game is quite complete. Plus, he's hungry for a fresh start, and Washington could be the perfect landing spot for him to showcase his skills and help a team aiming for serious postseason success. Of course, the big question is about money. How much will Pratt cost? Will the Commanders be willing to meet his asking price? These are the questions that will determine whether this move materializes. But make no mistake, the potential fit is there. Pratt's style of play aligns perfectly with what Washington is trying to build defensively. His leadership as a former captain in Cincinnati adds a layer of intangibles that the team needs. A linebacker of his caliber could be a cornerstone piece in their defense for years to come, especially if he continues to develop in a system that values aggressive, disciplined play. Now, it's important to remember that Washington isn't just looking for big-name signings to fill gaps. They're also focusing on building a roster with a mix of experienced veterans and promising young players. The draft, the mid-season acquisitions, those are always part of the plan, but the offseason is where the real groundwork is laid. And right now, the Commanders are making bold moves, positioning themselves as serious contenders. The NFL offseason is like a chess game, and Peters is clearly playing to win, making strategic moves that could pay off big time in the long run. Back to the league-wide picture for a moment. These developments with players like Alexander and Pratt are part of a larger trend we're seeing this offseason. More teams are willing to be aggressive, to make bold moves, because the window for winning is always open, and in the NFL, timing is everything. Washington, with their recent roster improvements, draft picks, and strategic signings, appears ready to take full advantage of this window. They understand that the NFL is a league where incremental improvements can turn into championship runs if done right. That's why they're not hesitating to explore all options, whether it's free agency, trades, or internal development. And speaking of internal development, let's not forget about the players already on the roster. The team's core, led by quarterback Sam Howell, who showed flashes of brilliance last season, is eager to take the next step. Howell's growth will be crucial, but so will the supporting cast around him. The offensive line, the receivers, the running backs, they all need to gel and perform at a high level. The same goes for the defense, which has been steadily improving but still has room to grow, especially in the secondary and linebacker core. In this context, adding a player like Jair Alexander or Germaine Pratt would not just be about upgrading talent. It's about instilling confidence, creating competition, and pushing everyone to elevate their game. The culture of the team is shifting, emphasizing a mentality of relentless pursuit and excellence. Coach Ron Rivera's leadership, combined with the innovative approach of General Manager Adam Peters, makes for a compelling combination that could turn Washington into a true playoff contender. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Will they really pull the trigger on these moves, or are they just window shopping? Well, here's the thing. Football is a game of inches, and in the NFL, the difference between a good season and a championship season can hinge on a single acquisition. The Commanders have the cap space, the draft capital, and the strategic vision to make these moves happen. They're not just talking, they're acting. And with the season just around the corner, every decision counts. The NFC East is fierce, with teams like the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants all making their own moves, but Washington is not content to sit still. They want to be the team nobody wants to face in January. In terms of the fan base, the excitement is palpable. After years of ups and downs, of rebuilding and retooling, there's a renewed sense of hope and anticipation. The stadium will be rocking, the city behind the team, and the players motivated to bring that Lombardi trophy back home. The offseason moves, especially if they land big-name players like Alexander or Pratt, could be the catalyst that propels Washington into serious postseason talk. And with the NFC East so competitive, every game, every play, every decision matters. The Commanders are clearly aiming high, and the league is watching them closely. So, as we look ahead to training camp, the preseason, and eventually the regular season, all eyes will be on how these potential additions fit into the team's scheme and how they influence the locker room dynamic. It's a crucial period, and the front office is making sure they leave no stone unturned. The energy, the urgency, the desire to win, these are the qualities that could define the Commanders' season. They've shown they're not afraid to be aggressive, to take risks, and to pursue greatness with everything they've got. And that's what makes being a fan so exciting right now. The future is bright, and it's full of possibilities. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And so the big question remains. Will the Commanders pull the trigger on a blockbuster trade or sign a high-profile free agent like Alexander or Pratt? Honestly, that's what the fans want to see, what the team needs to push them over the edge. The NFL offseason is all about these moments, those bold moves that can define a franchise for years to come. Washington has the pieces, the cap space, and now, perhaps, the motivation to make something happen. They're not just rebuilding, they're reloading, ready to make a statement in the NFC East. I think it's safe to say that if they manage to bring in a player of Jair Alexander's caliber, it would send shockwaves through the division. Defensive backs like him don't come around often, and the Commanders could instantly upgrade their secondary, making life much harder for opponents' top receivers. That kind of upgrade can turn a good defense into a dominant one, and in the NFL, defense wins championships. On the other hand, landing Germaine Pratt would give Washington a much-needed boost at linebacker, a position that has been a bit of a revolving door in recent years. Pratt's ability to stuff the run and his leadership qualities make him a perfect fit for a team hungry for stability and playmaking. His versatility to play inside or outside, along with his instinctive tackling, could be exactly what the Commanders need to take their defense to the next level. Of course, the financial aspect is always a factor. Will they have enough cap space? Will Pratt's asking price be too high? These are questions that will be answered in the coming days and weeks, but don't be surprised if Washington makes a serious push. The front office has shown they're not afraid to be aggressive, and they understand that the NFL is a copycat league. If one team strikes gold, others will follow. Washington wants to be that team that makes the bold move, that shifts the balance of power in the NFC East. This entire offseason revolves around these big decisions, and it's what makes following the Commanders so exciting. The roster is shaping up, the coaching staff is motivated, and the fans are hungry for success. The league's landscape is shifting, and Washington is positioning itself to be right at the forefront. Whether it's through trades, signings, or developing young talent, the goal remains the same: to bring that Lombardi trophy back to DC. And remember, with all these rumors and possibilities, the true test will be how they perform on the field. But one thing is for sure, if they manage to land a couple of these high-profile players, the NFC East will be in for a wild ride. The Commanders could turn the division into a three-team battle, with each team hungry to claim supremacy. The stakes are high, the moves are being made, and the excitement is building to a fever pitch. Fans, get ready because this season promises to be one of the most thrilling in recent memory for Washington supporters. The team is on the rise, and every move they make now could be the key to unlocking a new era of success. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the team should go all in on a player like Alexander or Pratt? Or do you believe they should hold their powder and focus on internal development? Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. This team is just getting started, and the best is yet to come. Thanks for riding along with me today, and as always, let's keep the passion alive. Go Commanders!